Great job now on Marcus Caton as he's really closed the gap. He's got about just only 9/10 back now. And as we begin to come down the hill, we know this is where he's fast. David Morse is all over the back now of Marcus Caton.
Oh yeah, he's going to be trying to make a move here. I'm going to guess either this lap or the next lap, getting down here into this hairpin corner. As he sticks his nose down there, I'm not sure that's going to work, but he's got it close. It's going to be a drag race back up the top, but I think that Marcus Caton's going to have the preferred line off the corner, guys.
Morse tried the high side, and it didn't quite work. Caton moved up to block him. This time Morse tries the low side as they go up the hill. Nicholas Morse makes the pass on Marcus Caton as they go to the top of the hill. Morse made a bold move to the bottom, slides it on exit on the top of the hill as they go mid-hill over the crest of the hill. Caton slides his back end around. So here we go, Mike the Brownie. You called it early on. This is a clinic between Caton and Morse on this road course. These two guys really beginning to go at it now.
Nick makes it look so easy that he just goes up the racetrack, passes and goes around it, turns. His car is actually extremely loose. He's got to have the wheel cranked left and right. He's fighting that. If you ever watch his in-car cams on many of his YouTube videos, the wheels are constantly left and right. Many people have commented on his wheels input and thinking he's driving with a keyboard. That's just how loose he drives his car. So I've drove his setups. They're extremely loose. And I'm sure he was at that point was definitely wheeling the car there.
So our new leader is Nicholas Morse over Marcus Caton. And it's probably a toss-up at this point in the race. Who's led the most amount of laps? And I'm not sure how the scoring works. Mike, are you awarded at Bridge City Racing? Wow, Caton very loose, trying to power over the start-finish line, trying to really get a run down the front straight. It cost him some time, but he makes it up. But what I was going to ask you, Mike the Brownie, are you rewarded at Bridge City Racing for leading the most amount of laps?
Absolutely. We copied NASCAR point systems to the T. You get 5 bonus points for first lap led. You get the 5 bonus points for most laps led. And we've actually got something that's very unique that nobody else is doing. We give you 5 bonus points for racing clean. That's right. 0 incident points against you, 0 incident markers. You get 5 bonus points for that as well. So you can get up to 195 points here for racing clean.
Oh, that's a good deal. Working lap. What lap are we working? Lap 31, 3/4 of this race in the books. David Bass, I tell you, this has been a lot of fun to watch. Wow! Marcus Caton put about 2 wheels off the course. They are trying to get the inside groove and gain some ground on Morse, and didn't quite work out. Didn't cost him anything, but David Bass, these guys are really beginning to drive these cars now. A lot of fun to watch.
There's no question. These two guys are doing an outstanding job. Marcus Caton looks like he's going to try to get the inside line now, coming back up towards the start-finish line off of that hairpin corner. They're side-by-side going through here, and side-by-side going over the start-finish line, guys. Marcus Caton looks like he's going to lead that lap, but Nick Morse is going to be trying to get back to him. Oh, that's close race. It looks like Marcus Caton's going to take it up there, but Nick Morse is going to do the crossover move. This is as close a race as you guys are going to see on this racetrack.
Unbelievable show by Marcus Caton and Nicholas Morse. Are you kidding me? A crossover move going on the top of the hill, sliding it sideways. Nicholas Morse just about pulled it off. Marcus Caton able to just drive away from him, hit the gas, and got a little bit better drive away from that turn than what Nicholas Morse was hoping for. He makes it work and gets himself a good 7-car length lead. But Mike the Brownie, let's not let that fool us. I'll bet you anything Morse is going to come through this fast part of the track and try and line Caton up one more time.
Yeah, one of the cool things about iRacing, you make that car sideways, you grease the tires up, the temperature comes up in the tires real good. You actually have to lay off the throttle a little bit, cool the tires back down so you can get some traction back in the tires. That's one of the cool things that they've done with the sim so far. They've worked really hard on the tires, and they'll keep working on that to get it even better. For the most part, I think this build right now, run right now, is probably the most realistic the tires have ever been. And it really shows that you got to back them off and then wheel it back on, and guys will keep doing that on these road courses like that.
So Marcus Caton, credit him as the leader of lap number 33, 3/10 of a second over Nicholas Morse. Those are the only two cars, if you're just joining us, that are on the lead lap. It's for sure been the Caton and Morse show. Stephen Hope is in third. Fourth is Robert Blackwell. Dan Ward, driving the 13 machine, had an early excursion off the track as well, but has got things back under control. However, is 3 laps back. Marcus Caton way off the track that time, trying to, or didn't quite get her slowed down in time, but really nonetheless worse for the wear. Steve Rosner off the pace. Let's check in with Robert Smith really quickly. He is driving the number 11 and also shown off the track. So it's pretty much 5 cars left, David Bass, and that's about it.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is kind of the thing we have come to see with these cars on this racetrack. These guys, you know, once you have some damage, it's real hard to be able to do anything. Wow, Nick Moore slides sideways getting into the hairpin. And guys, they're side by side going up the front stretch towards the start-finish line again. And we'll see who comes out the winner on this one.
Possibly one of the boldest moves I've seen yet tonight. The number 7 machine. I hope this pays off. That was an incredible piece of driving. John Westling, see if you can pull up a replay of the number 7 getting through the hairpin there. He totally loaded up that car, slid it sideways, and it just about worked. In the meantime, we're still side by side as we go up the hill. It's going to pay off this time, I believe, for Morse to go by Caton. Back down the hill we go. Caton is going to make the move to the bottom, and Morse has got him this time. John Westling, are you able to, I might have got to that too late. Well, forget it. Here we go, another lead challenge. This time it's Caton on the inside, Morse on the outside. Morse slides it too far, and Caton's got the drive off. Holy cow. That is a mouthful, David Browning. I'm having a hard time keeping up with my eyeballs on these guys. I can't imagine driving these cars, but they are absolutely having a fist fight now as we work lap 34.
Yeah, it's not very often you see 2x2 side-by-side racing on a road course for that long a period of time. These guys went 4 or 5 turns side-by-side, fighting for position back and forth. It didn't matter what turn it was. They were side-by-side trying to get that turn into the turn, and they were running either through the turn side-by-side. Usually guys will break and get the position back up, try and get a run. Nope, these guys weren't doing that tonight.
David Bass, for the last couple of laps, Nicholas Morse was able to outbrake Caton as they went into the final hairpin there. Looks like Caton was expecting it this time and kind of broke a little bit later, and was able to hold him off. But man, it has been nose to tail for these two drivers for the last 25 laps anyway.
So these guys, as we've said, these guys are putting on an absolute clinic. What has impressed me is these guys are running this close, this hard, and they haven't touched each other yet. How many times do we see in NASCAR, in stock car racing, you get these guys running that side by side for that long, they're going to bump, they're going to bang, they're going to grind. These two guys haven't touched yet.
Yeah, and amazingly so. I mean, they really should have. They slid sideways together through turns, and just an absolute demonstration, Mike DeBrownie, of the skill level of a couple of guys that are at the top of their game on a road course at BCR. Same sort of action we see it all the time on ovals at BCR. Oh yeah,
racing's always hard and difficult here in these Cup cars. This series is definitely not for the lightest, not for new drivers. This is a top tier racing league. And as we get down to lap 36, we got 4 to go into this race. These guys are battling back and forth. It's not gonna matter what lap it is. They're gonna fight for the win here, right to the bitter end.
So John Wesley, and I keep tempting you to pull up a replay, and then these guys throw another left hook at each other. We thought we'd check in with you. What have you observed so far in this race?
Oh, just one heck of a battle here for the lead here. I mean, I've known Nicholas Morse for a long time. I'm not so familiar with Marcus Caton, but Nicholas Morse has always been a hard, very clean racer. And I mean, I've known him back since 2002, 2003 Pappy days, and he's always been a really clean racer. And it really shocked me to see him even clip a bumper here at Marcus Caton.
Yeah, definitely putting on a clinic. I might remember the name from the old what was it called? Mike DeBrownie will remember, NASCAR Racing 2003. SetupGuru.com, I believe it was. I believe Nicholas Morse frequented that and helped us all with setups.
He's always been good at building setups. He's had a little less time with his real-life racing kind of taking away from that here. So I talked to him previously about setups. He says he just builds a car real loose and just wheels it, he says. So he doesn't really care too much about setups now. He knows that setups are a big thing here. And he could probably get a lot faster. He spent more time. He just doesn't have the ability to put more time in the setups now. So that's what his trick is right now, is just make it loose and just drive it.
David Bass working lap number 37. And I got to believe, just taking a look at the Marcus Caton machine, sort of spinning them coming out of turn number 3 there, we've got to be getting to see some tire wear any time now. I would imagine these guys are going to get even looser than they were as hard as they've been driving these cars.
There's not any question about that. These guys right now, their tires are pretty much shot, especially after the racing they've done. They know it, but they're just going to keep right on driving. These two guys can wheel a race car better than any others I've seen, or better than most of the ones I can see. I can't say better than any of the others I've seen, but these guys are just going to keep driving these cars and putting on a show for us. As it looks like, I don't know if Marcus Caton maybe has something here for Nick or not, but Nick it doesn't look like he's really gaining too much time. We'll see what he does as we coming into the hairpin here and heading back up towards the hill.
Hey, real quickly, JW, before we get ready for the conclusion of this one, we want to make sure we cover everybody that was able to make it to the track. Let's go back to the number 13 machine again of Dan Ward. He's got a nice Chevy emblem on the hood of that white car, but he's obviously had some encounters with something very hard. His last lap was a 1:26, but another really, really good driver that if you meet up with JW, if you meet up with Dan Ward on an oval, you had better be ready to watch your mirrors.
Almost definitely, Brian Green. I've had opportunity to watch him here in several races. He's one thing about him is he seemed to have kept it on the track for the most part here tonight, and that's, to me, that's the key. I mean, he evidently had an incursion with the wall at least once, but he's kept it on the track here, and it's kept him in the top 5.
Well, that's really a good thing to do, Mike DeBrownie. If you know, this can really help your season. If you're a guy like, say, a Robert Blackwell or a Stephen Hope, a Dan Ward, come out here and slide it off the track and get yourself a top 5 and grab a bunch of points in Bridge City Racing.
Yeah, one thing about our seasons, they are short. They're only 12 races in a season.
7 and 12 just wrecked in the hairpin, guys. They both look like they gathered it back up, though. That would
John
be our 2
Wesley.
leaders.
Yeah, John Wesley, and I just caught the end of that as well, too. See if you can get a replay of the 12 and the 7, and see if you can get what we're calling now, I guess, an E-play, and see what you think there.
I'm queuing it up here, and it looks like Morse got in there a little hot, locked his brakes up in that 7 car, and actually made contact there with our leader, and they just kind of tapped and got her going here again, guys.
So working the second to last lap, we're working lap number 39 now of 40. Mike DeBrownie, it's been Marcus Caton and Nicholas Morse. I've said it 100 times tonight, but man, these guys have got some talent.
You know, I was watching Nick there, and the contact he caused that driver. Real respectful thing for Nick to do that. He stopped, let Marcus get wound back up and fight back on the racetrack. He didn't want to win that way. That's not how he wants to do it. He wants to win it on the racetrack for battling for position. So that's pretty cool of him to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really like the experienced drivers, the senior drivers. We've got one over in our league. A lot of people watching tonight knows Jeff Hollingsworth. He does the same thing. I mean, if he wrecks you, he's going to let you get your position back. David Bass, here we go. We're starting lap number 40 here. When we come out of the hairpin, here we go over the start-finish line. It's going to be Caton and Morse. David Bass takes us over the start-finish line on our last lap.
Yeah, Caton's got about a second lead right now on Morse as they're coming over the start-finish line, headed back up towards the hill here. Nick's going to be doing everything he can to catch him, to be able to make the run into the hairpin. I got to believe that's where Nick's planning to make his move. But he's got to get close enough to do it as they come up here, coming down towards turn 7, that sharp right-hander heading back towards the S's.
So here we go, half of lap number 40 in the books. Marcus Caton, your leader, followed by Nicholas Morse. Stephen Hope, third. Fourth is Robert Blackwell. Dan Ward, fifth. And Mike DeBrownie, here we go. This is, to me, it looks like unless all heck breaks loose, it's going to be Marcus Caton. I hate to jinx him, but he's got, 12 car lengths or so anyway over Nicholas Morse.
We got 3 turns left here to make this difference up. Nick's going to have to really wheel it through the turn as he comes into turn 10. He's got 2 more turns left to get it done.
Marcus Caton on the bottom of the track, protecting the racing line, does a phenomenal job of doing that. Looks like he slowed it down just a little bit to ensure against the spin. Nicholas Morse, big sideways slide into the hairpin, doing whatever he can do to get back into the lead. Not going to happen for Nicholas Morse. What a piece of driving by Morse, though, to try to take the win from Caton. Doesn't happen. Marcus Caton, credit him for the win at the ETV Bridge City Racing Infineon 40. 80 miles we just went. What a win for Marcus Caton. Nicholas Morse, second. Stephen Hope was able to hang on to third. Robert Blackwell was able to hang on to fourth. Dan Ward rounded out our top 5 tonight. Rob Smith held in like a trooper for a long time, then finally parked it. He was 6th. Steve Rosner 7th. 8th was Oscar Smith. 9th, Graham Edelman. And top 10 rounded out by Michael Zeebley. David Bass, I tell you what.